counselors. My name's Marilyn Landrum, and I'm joined by Sarah Shedler, and we both work in the Access and Success Division of the Missouri Department of Higher Education. After completing your training by participating in all 3 webinars, you will receive a digital badge which you can upload to your social media. If you have a question as we go along, please type your questions in the chat box, and we will answer them as we can.
Once again, I just want to ask everyone to stay muted, and I will try to mute anyone who joins from this point forward. Please do not unmute yourself as we are recording this. Thank you very much.
Okay, so our goal is to keep borrowers from defaulting on their student loans. There are lots of consequences when borrowers default on a loan, which we will discuss, but not the least of these is that it will impact the borrower's quality of living. It can affect whether or not they buy a house, the interest rate on their car loans, and even their insurance rates. We want to teach you how to help your peers become more financially literate by only borrowing what they need for their educational expenses. Borrowing as much as they are qualified to borrow could keep them living like a student into the foreseeable future. You will be able to help students develop a budget and live within their means. Through these 3 webinars, we plan to provide you with information to help your fellow students be successful. We intend for you to know where to refer students, whether their concerns are academic, financial, or personal. We're going to use these 3 webinars to teach you how to use the templates that will be available on our website, and there's these strategic times to send out these mailings. We will help you to determine what resources are available when meeting one-on-one with your peers. We will provide presentations for you to use when addressing a group of students and assist you with planning activities designed with student success in mind. And finally, we will review the measures you will be expected to report and others to help you determine if your initiatives are being successful. Today, we'll address the strategic mailings and templates along with the measures and where to find the data to report. But first, we'll give you some general information about paying for college and financial aid, including student loans. It's important that you help your peers understand that they need to use all of the free money possible to them before they take out student loans, whether these be scholarships, grants, or work study. It's important to complete the FAFSA as soon as possible after October 1st. And it's really important to know what it takes to keep your financial aid, such as your GPA, enrollment status, and others. It's important to know the players that are involved with your student loans and make the financial aid office your friend. This is a list of state aid available to students who qualify. The A+ Scholarship Program, Access Missouri Financial Assistance Program, and Bright Flight are probably the most popular. You can become more familiar with each of these by reviewing the Missouri source. You might consider ordering a supply of the Missouri source to have on hand when you're working one-on-one with your peers. Institutional and private aid is also available. The colleges or universities that you are attending could award scholarships, and it is up to that institution to determine the eligibility criteria for those scholarships. Private organizations also award different types of scholarships, and they too determine the eligibility for the application procedures. This is a list of student aid available through the federal government. Student loans are included in this student aid. Information about each of these can be found in the Missouri source. It's important to know the difference between the subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans are based on eligibility of financial need. The government will pay the interest while you are enrolled at least half time in school. Interest will no longer, however, be paid during the grace period and only during some approved deferment periods. The unsubsidized loan is not based on need. All students enrolled in a post-secondary institution can apply for an unsubsidized loan. The interest will accrue as soon as the loan is disbursed, and you are responsible for paying that. If you choose to pay the interest as it accrues, then you will only have your principal to pay when you graduate. Otherwise, the interest is going to be added to the principal. To access most state aid and all of federal aid, you must complete the FAFSA. So encourage your peers to complete the FAFSA as soon as possible after October 1st. The first word is free application for federal student aid. So never pay someone to help you complete the FAFSA. This slide shows you the life of your student loans. First, the loan is going to be disbursed, and then you're going to have an in-school deferment period. Once you are no longer enrolled at least half time or you graduate, you will have a 6-month grace period. And after that 6-month grace period, it's time to begin your repayment. The fact is, all student loans have to be repaid. So think about what your expected salary is for your field of study. Your student loan payment shouldn't be more than 8% of your salary. You should research what the starting salary is for your chosen career in the area of the country where you plan to live, not the national average. There are all kinds of repayment options for you. If you do not choose a repayment plan, you will automatically go into the standard repayment plan. If you are nearing repayment and have not received any repayment information, I encourage you to contact your lender. So you do not receive, there's no penalties for prepaying your student loans. The standard and the graduated repayment plans are based on a maximum 10-year repayment period. The standard repayment plan will mean that you will make equal monthly payments every month for the next 10 years. The extended repayment plan you will only be eligible for if your debt exceeds $30,000 and the maximum repayment period is 25 years. The graduated repayment plan starts with small payments and increases gradually. It's a maximum of a 10-year repayment period, and you will pay probably a total interest more than what you would if you were in the standard repayment plan. The income-based repayment plan, income contingent repayment plan, income sensitive repayment plan, and the revised pay-as-you-earn plan are all tied to your salary. The IBR, to qualify for it, you must demonstrate partial financial hardship. The payments will be 10 to 15% of your discretionary income, depending on when the first loan was taken out. And then these are recalculated each year. Again, depending on when your first loan was taken out, if you have a balance after 20 or 25 years, the balance will be forgiven. You may, however, have to pay income taxes on the forgiven loans. The income contingent repayment plan is based on annual income, family size, total amount of loans. Borrowers have 25 years to repay their loans, and after 25 years, any unpaid portion of the loan will be forgiven. But again, you may have to pay income taxes on the forgiven balance. The income-sensitive repayment plan has monthly fixed payments for 1 year at a time and may increase or decrease depending on your income. Your loan will be paid in full within 15 years. And then repay. These payments will be about 10% of your discretionary income and are recalculated annually. Deferments must be granted if a borrower qualifies, whereas a forbearance is granted at the discretion of the loan holder. The deferment is a period of time when you may postpone payments if you meet the eligibility requirements. Some examples of a deferment would be an in-school deferment, economic hardship, unemployment, graduate fellowship, military, rehabilitation training program, etc. Forbearances are granted at the loan holder's discretion. Interest continues to accrue on all loans. So what's the difference? During approved deferments, the federal government may pay the interest on your subsidized loan, but during a forbearance, you are responsible for paying the interest no matter if your loan is subsidized or unsubsidized. So, great big warning, do not default on your student loans. Default means that you have failed to repay a loan according to the terms of your master promissory note, or you have been delinquent for 360 days or more. There are many consequences of defaulting on student loans. It's going to be reported to the National Credit Bureau, which is going to result in the worst possible credit rating you could have, and it will remain on your credit report for 7 years, even after the debt has been paid in full. When you default on a loan, the loan, including interest, becomes due and payable in full, and it will be assigned to a professional collection agency. You could be subject to federal treasury offsets, so your federal income taxes could be taken if you're expecting a refund, and other treasury payments, such as Social Security benefits, could be garnished. Your state taxes could also be intercepted. And you could be subject to administrative wage garnishment, and you would no longer be eligible to receive federal or state financial assistance. And once you default on a loan, you would receive no more deference or forbearances. When your loan is assigned to a collection agency, they could assign up to 24% of collection costs. And then whenever you make a payment, most of it is probably going to go to collection costs. After that, it will go to interest, and if there's anything left of that payment, then it would be applied to your principal. You could be subject to being sued by the federal government, and you could be denied employment with a state, county, city, or local government agency, or employment such could be terminated. It's really important to keep in touch with your loan servicer. You need to contact them if you change your name, your address, or your telephone number. If you're having trouble making payments, contact your loan servicer. They can help you either change your repayment plan or see if you're eligible for a deferment or place you in forbearance. If you're having problems communicating with your loan servicer, contact your school for assistance, your financial aid office.
We wanted to inform you about some very important websites for student loan borrowers and those who might be looking to borrow loans in the future. The first website is Journeytocollege.mo.gov. This is a website of the Missouri Department of Higher Education and has information solely for students on this page. The page that you're looking at right now is under the Finish section of Journey to College. We have both Plan and Pay as other sections designed for students who are mostly in high school. But the Finish section is going to offer information about good study habits and very general things that you can do to complete your college career in as short a time as possible. There's also information about the transfer tracker, and there's information additionally for parents. StudentLoans.gov and StudentAid.ed.gov are rather similar sites. Obviously, StudentLoans.gov is meant for those who have borrowed student loans. This could be both undergraduate and graduate students. There's even a section for parent borrowers as well. You'll see the repayment and consolidation section on the very end. These are meant to answer questions that are common among student loan borrowers. Uncommon questions should be referred to the financial aid office. But this website is a good first line of help when it comes to questions about student loans. StudentAid.ed.gov again has some of the same information that we saw on StudentLoans.gov, but much more additional information, starting with preparing for college. It does have a great section on how to repay your student loans, and you'll find the repayment estimator there. You can see that circled in red. This is a good way for borrowers to calculate their monthly payments using the different repayment plans, which Marilyn just talked about. It will give you a rough estimate based on your loan amounts, current borrowed amounts, on what you could expect to repay if you qualified for something other than the standard repayment plan. There's, again, a lot of very general information on this site, and it is a good first step when it comes to questions about student loan borrowing and other federal aid. This last website is the National Student Loan Data System, also known as NSLDS. NSLDS is the first place that every borrower needs to go to check on their loan balance, to make sure that all their information is correct, to make sure that they know what they've borrowed, how many loans they have, how much those loans have been for. You can directly see everything about your borrowing history, your federal financial aid history. You will need a FSA ID to log into this site, and if somebody has forgotten that, it is the same ID that they use to sign their FAFSA. The next thing that we want to discuss are some templates that the MDHE provides. These are currently available to those of you who are listening. If you send an email to myself or Marilyn, and our contact information will be at the end of this presentation. These templates are meant to be a way to contact students during critical times. They're designed to be customized by your institution. However, the postcards, which are the two items on the left, it can be printed just as they are. The look of these will change somewhat. We're constantly refining what we have, but these will be available to you, as I said, if you send an email to either one of us. Both the postcards and the letters are meant to arrive in a student's mailbox at critical times for a student's success. These times would be before the term begins, or when students are receiving their student aid reports, the beginning of the term when loans are being dispersed, or during early or on-time registration for classes for the next term. So the first postcard says only borrow what you need and will contain gentle nudges for returning unused loan amounts, loan refunds, or reducing the loan amounts borrowed. The second postcard is obviously a reminder to register for classes and doing so on time, and also mentions completing 15 or more credits each semester, encouraging on-time graduation. The debt letter, which is kind of small and hard to read in this form, you can see contains some yellow and gray highlights. So this letter is meant to be a reminder to students of what they have already borrowed whenever they're making the decision to borrow more. And it estimates their monthly repayments, and then also lists any other private loans or institutional loans. But as I said, this letter is customizable, so you could design it to fit whatever loan programs your school participates in. To go into a little more detail about what the letter looks like with these highlights. So the yellow highlights are what represents a mail merge field, so that you would link to whatever database contains your student information, loan amounts borrowed, name, address, etc. And you would then use the mail merge function in Microsoft Word to bring in that data for every student. The gray fields are fields that need to be customized by your school, and I shouldn't use the word field. They're not a field. They're just a part of a sentence that needs to be customized by your school. For instance, the office, the person, the phone number, the email address that you want a student to call if they have questions, the years in which you're reporting this data for them. So whether it be for several years prior, 1 year prior, name of your institution, and then a signature block. And at the very top, there is room for institutional letterhead, so that this looks like it's coming from your school. We have included our Success Services logo at the bottom, if you would like to include that as well.
This slide shows all of the different measures that we're asking you for. So to determine the average amount borrowed, you will just need to know what the total dollar amount of loans per semester and also the number of borrowers, and then just divide the dollars by the number of borrowers to determine the average amount borrowed. You can get this information from your financial aid office. They will just give you the amount of student loans that has been dispersed along with the number of borrowers. We would also like for you to divide that total dispersed by the total number of students. So we will have two different measures kind of going here. Next, we'd like for you to try and track who is requesting to return their loan refund or who has denied all of the loans that they're eligible for. We're looking for fall-to-fall retention rates, or if you have just a certificate program, you probably would not be recording a retention rate. Try to keep track of how many students attend your events, or if the peer counselors are doing one-on-one appointments, you could have a sign-in sheet and have them check what they're coming in for. So you would have like a variety of topics for them to choose from, whether they're coming in for personal reasons or they're coming in to talk about their financial aid. So you will just tell us the subject matter for what they came in to speak with you. Then determine how many letters or the postcards that have been sent out that Sarah was just showing you, and how many responses you received from them. So if you send these out and then you start getting calls because the borrowers have received correspondence from you, if you could just keep track of that. They may be calling in to say that they want to return some of their loan funds, or they're calling in because they're having trouble registering for classes. And then the dollars in repayment and the dollars in default, and the number of borrowers in repayment and default all come from your loan record detail report. One person from your office probably will have access to this, and it will be probably somebody in the financial aid office. And you can always let us know if you're having trouble finding the loan record detail report. Here are some of the publications that we thought may be useful to you. The MDHE offers many free publications, all with the goal of helping students successfully enter a post-secondary program and complete with a credential, whether it's a certificate, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or what. So the first one on the left is the Missouri Source, and we talked about that earlier. And this is a guide for applying for financial aid, and all of the information about all of those different sources of financial aid you'll be able to find in this Missouri Source. The next one is the College Portfolio, and this is just a good way to have students keep track of their paperwork, such as copies of their FAFSA, award letters, acceptance letters, essays, whatever. This is a good publication for them to be able to have to keep all of their information in one place. And then on the right is Planning for Financial Success. And this is a calendar that can be used as a planner to keep track of assignments, work schedules, etc. And in the front, there are a variety of financial literacy topics. And we're available to help you put a presentation together on any of these topics, or if you need help with something, we're more than willing to work with you. You can place an order for any of these publications from our website. Just go to our website, MDHE.mo.gov, and on the right there's it says Publication Order Form, and you just click on that and then tell us who you are and what you want to order.
These two items are not necessarily publications, but are things that are available for you to order. However, you will order these by sending an email to Journeytocollege.mo.gov. And in the email, just tell us the institution that you are from and how many of these that you need. The I will not default on my student loans item is a poster. It is the standard eye chart size, and those are great to put up in places that students frequently walk past, not just the financial aid office. They are indeed very eye-catching and offer a reminder to think about student loans and repayment now. The other item you see there is actually the size of a bookmark, and this is a new service that the Missouri Department of Higher Education is offering. By texting hashtag MoSuccess to 41411, students will receive 2 text messages per month with helpful information about being successful in school. This information is general enough that it would apply to any college student, no matter the institution they're attending. We'll talk a little bit more about that service on the next slide, but these bookmarks are designed to be handed out or to be put into bags at the bookstore or other mailings going out to students. So more about our communications that we offer at the Department of Higher Ed. There is a monthly reminder, and if you visit this website, you can also sign up for it as well as read previous ones. The monthly reminder offers information for high school students and parents, but also for college students. And it's timely information, things that apply to the month in which you are reading the reminder. Our Facebook page is /Journey-to-College. We post frequently on both Facebook and Twitter, which you can see below that, with helpful information, some fun stuff, some important dates. Again, it's all very timely and relates to what students should be doing at that time of the month. Our YouTube channel offers a few videos. Right now you can see stories of students who were successful in college and information on how to help other students do the same. And then our Instagram page is fairly new. It is going to contain some of the same information that Facebook and Twitter has, but again in a fun way. These are things we hope that you will encourage students to sign up for and that you yourself will sign up for. And then the text messaging service, which I mentioned before, it is something that we hope we can encourage a lot of students to sign up for, to receive those messages, to see if it's a helpful service, and we would appreciate any input that schools have about that service as well.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Please type them in the chat box. Okay, well, in the future, if you decide that you come up with a question, you're welcome to send an email to either me or to Sarah. There are our email addresses. We thank you for listening to our webinar this afternoon, and we will let you know when the recorded webinar is available. Have a great weekend.